Hello, welcome back to Flannels Briar. I'm Gareth. Again, out at my spring campsite here in the Flint Hills of Kansas. Another day of what's left of the days of the Codger Challenge 2025. Smoking my Brigham Mountaineer Rhodesian, guess that's what that is, with Velvet Gun Dog, of course. I guess technically it's early evening now, 6:30 p.m. It's just been kind of a blah. It's kind of weird day, I guess. Essentially, it's been like overcast all day. Up until just like the last 10-15 minutes, I saw a little bit of the sun kind of break through out here to the west, but that seems to have kind of sort of got swallowed up by clouds again. But yeah, never really saw the sun today. Other than that was pretty, wasn't much either. I went for a little bit of a wandering walk hike this morning, and got done with that about noon. And it just seemed, even then, it seemed like later in the day than it was. Didn't seem like it was really like late morning. And came back to my camp, had lunch, had some coffee. I decided to take a little bit of a nap. Just, not that I was particularly tired, I just kind of felt like, I don't know, something enjoyable to do. And my nap turned into one that was way longer than I planned on. Yeah. It's been a few hours napping this afternoon, to say the least. I was just hanging out in the hammock, sleeping, napping, it was just comfortable. I didn't want to get out, sort of thing. Just kind of one of those days. It hasn't rained since I've been out here. Which is fine. I mean, if it rains, it rains. If it doesn't, then I just don't have to deal with wet stuff. So wet stuff like packing wet tarps and that sort of thing that I just have to make sure I lay out once I get home so they dry. Last night I was able to talk to my wife on the phone for a good little while. Who's out in Colorado dealing with the situation with her aunt and her kind of cousin, whatever, her aunt's grandson, who they were in that crash with a guy that was trying to flee the police. The good news is it sounds like mortal danger wise, it doesn't sound like that's really an issue at this point, so that's good. Recovery, all that sort of thing, is obviously the bigger concern, which, that's not a surprise in these situations with when you have big time injuries, that sort of thing. So I'm happy to hear that injury wise, things are not too bad. You know, they're not good, but you know, could be worse, sort of thing. People could have died, and they haven't. The guy that crashed into him died, but you know, he signed him up for that. He signed himself up for that part of things when he tried to run from the police. But unfortunately, though, my wife and her other aunt that she went out to Colorado with have been trying to get stuff figured out with other family members, and you know, trying to figure out who's going to help out there for the, you know, next few weeks and all that sort of stuff. And unfortunately, it's quite a mess for a number of different reasons, which I won't go into. But sounds like they've kind of been dealing with a bit of a mess with that. And even something that you would think would be straightforward, my wife apparently called the State Farm insurance people yesterday, and apparently this person that she was talking to either was not paying attention to what she was saying, despite the fact she was asking questions, that this person was asking her questions and looking for information. Either she wasn't listening to the answer she was getting, like she was like doing something else and not paying any attention, or this person was a complete and utter moron. I don't know which of those was the case, but just stuff like that should be easy. People asking just idiotic questions about just idiot level stuff. Well, here's the sun. But anyway, yeah, I don't know. It's kind of a mess, but it could be worse. But I'm glad I got out and you know, for one less camp out before it starts getting too warm and too buggy and too overgrown with poison ivy and stuff. As far as I know, I'm still not allergic. I don't react to poison ivy, but that doesn't mean I try staying away from it because that's one of those things that can change. But yeah, everything's greening up around this part of the world. The grasses are growing. The trees are leafing out. Today's just like been in like the 50s roughly, so it's on the cooler but, you know, nice side. I really can't complain. I love 50-degree weather. Overall, I'd much rather be 55 than be hot. But yeah, that's what's going on. Just enjoying being out. Glad to hear that the news is better family-wise than I had been fearing. And despite some things being kind of a mess. But anyway, yeah. Just a few days to go for the Codger challenge. I have to admit, especially being out here smoking several bowls of my Velveteen Gun Dog, I definitely have a bit of a craving for something different, some variety. You know, almost anything. Some Cowboy Coffee by Country Squire. I really love that blend. Elizabethan mixture was one that I have only more recently come across, and I really love that stuff. I have noticed that I don't necessarily always like all that much Perique, and it's not to say I don't like it, but I just think that there are certain blends, like for instance, um, Hana Bookshop. At times I really love Hana Bookshop, and at times not so much. And I have figured out, I think it's the Perique in it that sometimes it's maybe a bit too much or something. And I've noticed that with other blends. Sometimes I think the Perique just kind of gets to me a bit. But with Elizabethan mixture, it's like they hit on this. It's a Virginia Perique essentially, from what I remember. But it's like it has Perique in it, but it's like just a very spot on proportion where it works really well with the blend, but yet it's not overly Perique, and I really like that stuff. But yeah, like I was talking before, all these like burley blends that just seem to go with this time of year to me. Burley blends other than just, this burley blend. Mostly burley blend. But that's all for now. I've run this on long enough, so thanks for joining me out at my campsite here. Yeah, I'm Gareth, Flint Hills Briar. See, I did it right this time. Thanks for joining me. See you later.